I surprised my parents with a $50,000 luxury cruise to the Caribbean as a thank you gift. So when I met them at the port ready to board, they announced, "We're taking your brother instead. You don't appreciate us," and I immediately revoked all the tickets. Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe, say hello below, and tell us where you're watching from. Your support truly means everything. Let's continue. I stood in the cruise line office, hands trembling as I signed the final papers. $50,000. 2 weeks. 3 luxury suites on the most prestigious Caribbean cruise ship. This was it, the moment I'd been planning for 6 months. My parents had sacrificed everything for me, working double shifts, skipping meals, ensuring I got through college debt-free. Now, at 32, with my marketing firm finally thriving, I could give them the dream vacation they'd never allowed themselves. "Miss Johnson, you're all set," the agent smiled, sliding the boarding passes across the desk. "Your parents are going to be thrilled." If only she knew. I hadn't told them. I wanted to see their faces when I revealed we'd be sailing together in 5 days. My chest swelled with pride as I tucked the documents into my purse. Growing up in our small 2-bedroom apartment, watching Mama's hands crack from cleaning houses, seeing Daddy's back bend from construction work. This was my way of saying thank you. My phone buzzed. Levi, my younger brother. "Hey sis, you coming to Sunday dinner?" I smiled. Despite our complicated history, family dinners were sacred. "Wouldn't miss it," I texted back. I had no idea that dinner would be the beginning of my nightmare. No idea that the gift I'd purchased with love would become the weapon that finally severed the ties I'd spent a lifetime trying to strengthen. The boarding passes felt heavy in my bag as I drove home, my heart full of anticipation for what I believed would be the best surprise of their lives. The smell of collard greens and cornbread hit me the moment I opened my parents' front door. Mama's cooking always transported me back to childhood Sunday dinners, when things felt simpler. But the atmosphere tonight felt different. Tense. Levi sat at the table, that familiar smirk playing on his lips. At 28, he still lived in the basement, still hadn't held a job longer than 3 months. "There's our successful daughter," Daddy announced, though his tone carried something I couldn't quite place. Pride? Or something else? "Hey everyone." I hugged Mama, noticing how she seemed distracted, glancing between Levi and Daddy with worried eyes. Over dinner, Levi droned on about his new business venture. Another multi-level marketing scheme that would inevitably fail. I'd stopped offering help after he'd stolen money from my apartment 2 years ago, money I'd forgiven but never forgotten. Mama kept serving him extra portions, refilling his plate before he even asked. "You know, successful people help family," Levi said suddenly, his eyes boring into mine. "Not everyone can be selfish like some folks." The room went silent. My fork paused midair. "Excuse me." "Levi," Mama warned softly. "What?" "I'm just saying. She's got that big house, that fancy car, and we're still struggling. But family don't matter when you're too good for your own blood." My stomach churned. I'd given them thousands over the years, paid their mortgage twice when Daddy was out of work, bought Mama's medication monthly. But I said nothing, swallowing the defense that burned in my throat. Little did I know this was just the opening act of a betrayal that would shatter everything I thought I knew about my family. "You don't know what you're talking about, Levi." I kept my voice steady, years of therapy teaching me not to engage with his provocations. But my hands gripped my fork so tight my knuckles paled. "Don't I?" He leaned back, that arrogant expression I'd seen 1,000 times spreading across his face. "Mama told me about the property taxes. How they're behind. How they might lose this house. But you're too busy with your fancy life to notice your parents struggling." My head snapped toward Mama. "What? Why didn't you tell me?" She wouldn't meet my eyes, suddenly very interested in her plate. "We didn't want to burden you, baby." "Burden me? Mama, I ask you every month if you need anything." My heart raced. The property taxes were only $3,500. I could have handled that in a heartbeat. "See?" Levi gestured at me triumphantly. "You ask, but you don't really see. You don't really care." Daddy cleared his throat. "Levi has been helping out more. Taking me to appointments, fixing things around the house. He's here when we need him." The implication hung heavy in the air. Levi was here and I wasn't. Never mind that I called 3 times a week, visited every Sunday, paid for their medications, their car insurance, their home repairs. Never mind that Levi's help usually meant asking them for gas money or eating all their groceries. I literally paid your mortgage last year. Twice. My voice cracked slightly. I bought Mama's medical equipment. Money ain't everything, Levi interrupted, that poisonous smile widening. But you wouldn't understand that, would you? Too busy counting your dollars to count your blessings. I wanted to scream. To flip the table. To demand they acknowledge every sacrifice I'd made. Instead, I excused myself to the bathroom, hands shaking as I gripped the sink. The cruise tickets burned in my consciousness. Should I even tell them now? Would they appreciate it, or would Levi somehow twist it into another example of my failures? I returned to the table, decision made. They needed to see that I did care, that I'd been planning something extraordinary. Reaching into my purse, I pulled out the elegant envelope containing the cruise documents. My hands had stopped shaking, replaced by a strange calm. I didn't want to say anything, I began, placing the envelope in the center of the table, because I wanted it to be a surprise. But maybe you need to see this now. Mama's eyes widened as she reached for the envelope, her weathered fingers trembling. What's this, baby? Open it. She pulled out the boarding passes, the cruise itinerary, the information packet. Her mouth fell open. Daddy leaned over, his reading glasses slipping down his nose as he scanned the documents. For a moment, the only sound was Levi's fork scraping against his plate. This is a cruise? Mama whispered, tears forming in her eyes. To the Caribbean? 2 weeks. 3 luxury suites. All inclusive. Meals, excursions, spa treatments, everything. We leave in 5 days. I smiled, feeling vindicated. I've been saving for 6 months. I wanted to thank you for everything you've done for me. Daddy's eyes glistened. Sweetheart, this must have cost $50,000, I said softly. You're worth every penny. Mama stood abruptly, pulling me into a crushing hug. My baby girl. My beautiful, thoughtful baby girl. He was crying now, really crying, and I felt my own tears coming. This was the moment I'd dreamed of. Then Levi spoke, his voice cutting through the emotion like a blade. 3 suites? So I'm not invited. The temperature in the room dropped. I pulled back from Mama, looking at my brother's hostile expression. Levi, this is for Mama and Daddy. Thank you for raising you, he finished, his tone acidic. And me? I was raised by who? The mailman. Levi, don't start, Daddy warned. Don't start? She's taking our parents on a luxury vacation and excluding me, their son. But I'm the bad guy for pointing it out. My stomach twisted into knots as I watched Levi work his dark magic. He stood from the table, pushing his chair back with deliberate force. You know what? This is exactly what I'm talking about. This right here. Levi, please, Mama said, but her voice had already changed. Softer. Guilty. No, Mama. She needs to hear this. He turned to me and I saw something calculated in his eyes. Something that made my blood run cold. Ever since she got her fancy degree, her fancy business, she's been holding it over us. Showing off. Look what I can do that you can't. It's disgusting. That's not what this is. I protested, feeling the room shift around me. I wanted to do something nice. Nice. Levi laughed bitterly. Nice would be helping with Mama and Daddy's bills instead of going on vacation. Nice would be thinking about the whole family, not just who you want to impress. I turned to my parents, desperate for backup. Daddy was studying his plate. Mama wrung her hands in her lap. Neither defended me. The silence was deafening. I do help with their bills, I said, my voice rising. I've helped countless times. You would know that if you contributed anything besides manipulation and guilt trips. There it is, Levi said triumphantly, looking at our parents. You see how she talks to me? How she thinks she's better than us. I never said that. You don't have to say it. It's in everything you do. He sat back down, his performance reaching its crescendo. Mama, Daddy, you raised us to be humble. To remember where we came from. But she's forgotten. This cruise? It's not for you. It's for her ego. My hands shook with rage. That's a lie. Is it? He leaned forward. Then let me ask you something. When's the last time you came by just to sit with them? Not to throw money at them but just be with them? I'm here twice a week. Where are you? The accusation hung in the air, and I realized with horror that my parents were nodding slightly. Actually nodding. As if Levi, who'd stolen from them, lied to them, used them, had a single valid point. This is insane, I whispered. Mama reached across the table, taking my hand. Her touch felt different now, weighted with obligation rather than love. Baby, what Levi is saying, he has a point. My heart cracked. Mama, no. Please don't. Just listen, she continued, her voice gentle but firm. You work so hard and we're proud of you. So proud. But sometimes it feels like you're trying to buy our love instead of just being our daughter. The words hit like physical blows. Buy your love. I'm trying to thank you. To give you something you've never had. But did you ask if it's what we wanted? Daddy finally spoke and his words destroyed me. Did you think that maybe we'd rather have you here more often than have some expensive trip? I pulled my hand from Mama's. I call you 3 times a week. I'm here every Sunday. I pay for things because I love you and I want to help. How is that not being present? It's different when Levi does it, Mama said softly. He doesn't have much, but he gives what he has. His time. His energy. Levi's time. His energy. The same time and energy he used to manipulate them to avoid getting a job, to drain their resources while I actually paid their bills. I looked at him and he met my gaze with cold satisfaction. So what are you saying? My voice came out hollow. That you don't want to go on the cruise? The silence stretched impossibly long. Finally, Daddy spoke. We want to go. But we want Levi to come too. As a family. There was the trap perfectly laid. There are only 3 suites. For 3 people. That was the whole point, time with just you two. You could give up your suite, Levi suggested, his tone deceptively casual. Let me go instead. You said it yourself. This is about thanking them, not about you. I stared at him, unable to process what I was hearing. You want me to give up my ticket? To the vacation I planned? That I paid for? Unless it really is about your ego, he challenged. Levi, that's enough, Mama said but weakly. So weakly. Baby, nobody's asking you to give up your ticket. We just wish there was room for everyone. I left that dinner in a daze, driving home through tear-blurred vision. For 3 days my phone exploded with messages. Levi sent paragraphs about family unity and how real sisters make sacrifices. Mama called crying, saying she didn't want to cause problems, but couldn't I understand how hard it was to choose between her children? Daddy texted scripture about forgiveness and putting others first. I didn't sleep those 3 nights. I paced my living room, the cruise documents spread across my coffee table, mind spinning in endless circles. Every childhood memory surfaced, demanding examination. Was Levi right? Had I been absent? I counted the times I'd helped them financially, but maybe money wasn't the answer. Maybe they really did need something else. My best friend Tanisha came over on the 3rd night, finding me crying over a photo album. Girl, what are they doing to you? She asked, pulling me into a hug. Maybe I am selfish, I sobbed. Maybe I should just let Levi go. It's not about me, right? It's about them being happy. Tanisha grabbed my shoulders, forcing me to look at her. Listen to me. You are not selfish. You are not wrong. What they're doing is called manipulation. It's abuse. They're my parents. And they're choosing Levi over you after everything you've done. After everything he's taken. She gestured at the cruise documents. You spent $50,000 to thank them. Levi has stolen from them. And somehow you're the villain. Her words should have strengthened me, but guilt had burrowed too deep. That night at 2 a.m. I made the call I'll regret for the rest of my life. I called the cruise line and added a 4th suite to the booking. Another $17,000 charged to my credit card while my hands shook and my heart screamed that this was wrong. I texted Mama the confirmation number. Her response came immediately. Thank you, baby. This is what family does. We love you. But Levi's response sent in a separate text chilled me. See? That wasn't so hard. Maybe you're learning. The morning before our departure, I met Mama for coffee. She looked tired, older somehow, and my heart ached with love and confusion. We'd always been close, or so I thought. Now I wasn't sure what was real anymore. Are you excited? I asked, forcing brightness into my voice. Of course, baby. He squeezed my hand. I've never been on a cruise. Never thought I would. She paused, her expression turning serious. I need to tell you something, though. About Levi. My stomach tightened. What about him? He's going through a hard time. His girlfriend left him, he lost another job, and he's been real depressed. This trip, it means everything to him. More than you know. Her eyes pleaded with me. I know you two have your differences, but maybe this can be a fresh start. A chance to rebuild. I wanted to scream. Levi had gone through a dozen hard times, each one used to extract sympathy and resources from our parents. His girlfriend had probably left because she finally saw through his act. The job loss was inevitable, he'd never kept one long enough to get fired before he quit. But I looked at Mama's hopeful face and swallowed every protest. Sure, Mama. A fresh start. That afternoon Levi called me. No preamble, no thanks for the additional $17,000 I'd spent. Just, we need to talk about the sleeping arrangements. What about them? Everyone has their own suite. Right, but Mama mentioned the suites have balconies. Different sizes. I did some research. The ones you booked originally are larger. Premium level. His voice hardened. I think it's only fair that we rotate who gets which suite. Unless you think you're more deserving than the rest of us. I closed my eyes, breathing through the rage. Levi, I don't care about the suite sizes. Take whichever one you want. That's not the point. The point is equity. We should draw straws or something. Fine. Whatever you want. His laugh was soft, ugly. You're finally learning your place, big sister. It's about time. The port was magnificent, gleaming water, massive ship rising like a palace from the sea, excitement thrumming through the air. I'd arrived 2 hours early, unable to sleep, my 7 suitcases packed with outfits for every excursion. I'd planned everything. Sunset dinners, snorkeling trips, spa days with Mama, fishing with Daddy. This was still going to be good. It had to be. My phone rang. Mama. Hi. Are you close? I'm already here, can't wait to see you. Baby, we're running a little late. Levi had to stop for something. We'll be there in about 45 minutes. Something in her voice felt off, but I pushed it aside. No problem. I'll wait by the check-in. Those 45 minutes crawled by. I watched families boarding, couples laughing, children squealing with excitement. I checked my phone obsessively. Finally, I saw them, Mama and Daddy walking through the port entrance, but something was wrong. Their suitcases. They were pulling multiple sets. More than 2 people would need. And then I saw why. Behind them walked Levi. And beside Levi walked a woman I didn't recognize, young and pretty, giggling at something he said. And behind them both were 2 more people, an older couple I'd never seen before. My feet moved automatically, carrying me toward them through the crowd. Mama? Daddy? My voice sounded distant, confused. Who are these people? Levi spoke first, his grin wide and malicious. Surprise. This is Elena, my new girlfriend. And these are her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Owens. We figured since there's a 4th suite anyway, why not make it a real family trip? The world tilted. You what? Mama wouldn't meet my eyes. Now baby, before you get upset. Before I get upset? Before I get upset. People turned to stare, but I didn't care. I paid for 4 suites. For you, Daddy, me and Levi. Not his girlfriend. Not her parents. What is happening right now? Daddy's voice was hard. Lower your voice. You're embarrassing us. I'm embarrassing you? I laughed, a horrible broken sound. Who are these people, Mama? Levi stepped forward, putting his arm around Elena, a woman who looked like she'd rather be anywhere else. Here's the thing, sis. You said this trip was about family. About being generous and grateful. Well, I'm trying to build a family with Elena. Her parents wanted to meet our family, and what better place than a luxury cruise? That you paid for with my money. My voice cracked, fury and heartbreak warring inside me. Your money, Levi repeated mockingly. Always about your money. You know what Mama and Daddy told me last night? That they're tired of you lording your success over everyone. That they wish they'd had two humble children instead of one successful one and one good one. The words struck like bullets. I looked at my parents. Is that true? Did you say that? Mama's eyes filled with tears. Baby, you're taking this all wrong. Answer the question. I screamed. Did you say I lord my success over you? The pause was answer enough. Daddy finally spoke. We said that sometimes your generosity feels like judgment. That's all. That's all. I was shaking now, my entire body vibrating with rage and grief. I spent $67,000 to thank you. To celebrate you. And you invited strangers. They're not strangers, Levi interrupted. They're going to be my in-laws. And honestly, we had a family meeting about this. We voted. You voted? On my vacation. On our vacation, he corrected. The one you're treating like you own because you paid for it. Yeah, we voted. And we decided that since you were being so rigid about the guest list, maybe you're not in the right headspace for a family vacation anyway. My heart stopped. What are you saying? Levi looked at Mama and Daddy, then back at me. His smile was pure cruelty. We're saying that maybe you should sit this one out. Let us take the sweets. You've made your point about how generous you are. Now let the actual family have some bonding time without your negativity. Without my... I couldn't finish the sentence. I turned to Mama, desperate. Mama, please. Please tell me this isn't happening. She finally looked at me, and what I saw in her eyes destroyed me. Pity. And something worse, resignation. Baby, you don't appreciate us anyway. That's what you've shown. Maybe some time apart would be good. Time fractured. I stood there, unable to process what I'd heard. Around us, happy families boarded the ship, their laughter a surreal soundtrack to my disintegration. Elena's parents looked uncomfortable, whispering to each other. Security guards had started drifting closer, sensing the escalating tension. You want me to give up my tickets, I said slowly, each word deliberate, to a cruise I planned and paid for so my brother and his girlfriend and her parents, people I've never met, can go instead. Because I don't appreciate you. Don't be dramatic, Daddy said. We're not saying you can't go. We're just saying maybe this isn't the right trip for you. Something inside me snapped. Not with explosive anger, but with cold, crystalline clarity. I pulled out my phone, opening my banking app. With trembling fingers, I navigated to my transaction history. $50,000 for the original booking. $17,000 for Levi's suite. Receipts going back years. Mortgage payments, medical bills, car repairs, insurance premiums. Numbers that added up to over $200,000. Look at this, I said, voice eerily calm, holding the phone out to Mama. Look at every time I've helped you. Every bill I've paid. Every emergency I've handled. He glanced at the screen, then away. Money isn't everything. You're right. It's not. I scrolled further. How about the time I flew home twice a month when Daddy had his heart surgery? Or when I spent every weekend for 3 months helping you pack and move? Or the 1,000 hours of phone calls, the Sunday dinners I never missed, the holidays I spent here instead of with friends? Nobody asked you to do those things, Levi said. I turned to him slowly. You're right. Nobody asked. I did them because I loved them. Because family takes care of each other. I laughed, hollow and broken. But family also doesn't steal from each other. Family doesn't lie. And family sure as hell doesn't invite strangers on someone else's vacation and then kick out the person who paid for it. We're not kicking you out, Mama tried again, reaching for me. I stepped back. Yes. You are. I looked at each of them. But you know what? You're right about one thing. I don't appreciate you. Not anymore. I walked away from them, their voices calling after me, and headed straight to the cruise line's customer service desk. The representative, a kind-looking woman named Janet, smiled brightly. How can I help you? I need to cancel my booking. My voice was steady now, purpose replacing pain. All of it. Her smile faltered. Ma'am, we're boarding in 45 minutes. There would be substantial penalties. I don't care about penalties. I paid $67,000 for 4 suites. I'm the primary account holder. I want them all cancelled. Now. Behind me I heard running footsteps. Baby, wait. Mama's voice. Please, let's talk about this. I didn't turn around. Can you do it or not? Janet's expression shifted from confusion to understanding as she looked past me at my family's approaching commotion. Yes, ma'am. I can do that. I'll need to verify your identification and credit card. Whatever you need. The next 10 minutes were chaos. Levi was screaming about how I couldn't do this, how he'd sue me, how I was a bitter, jealous woman who couldn't stand seeing him happy. Daddy was trying to be the voice of reason, explaining that I was just emotional, that I didn't mean it. Mama was crying, begging, promising things would be different. Elena and her parents had backed away, clearly regretting their involvement in this disaster. Me. I stood at that desk, ID and credit card in hand, and watched Janet's fingers fly across her keyboard. Done, she finally said. All 4 suites are cancelled. You'll receive a refund minus the cancellation fee, about $15,000, within 7 to 10 business days. Thank you. I turned to face my family. Levi lunged at me. Security was there instantly, grabbing his arms, holding him back as he struggled. You bitch. You can't do this. Those tickets are ours. No, I said quietly. They were mine. I paid for them. And now they're nobody's. The security guards were speaking into their radios now. More officers appeared. I watched as they firmly escorted my entire family away from the boarding area. Levi still screaming, Mama crying, Daddy's face red with humiliation. Elena and her parents scurried off separately, wanting no part of the scene. That was 3 months ago. I'm writing this from my apartment, the one I've since moved out of because they had a spare key and trashed it while I was at work. The police report sits on my desk next to the restraining order. Mama calls from numbers I don't recognize, leaving voicemails about how I've torn the family apart. Levi sends emails detailing what a terrible person I am, how I'll die alone, how I'm dead to them. Daddy hasn't said a word. I didn't get my vacation. I got a brutal lesson instead. You can't buy love and you can't fix people who don't want to be fixed. I spent years trying to prove my worth to people who'd already decided I was worthless unless I was useful. The saddest part? I miss them. I miss Sunday dinners. I miss Mama's laugh and Daddy's terrible jokes. I miss the family I thought we were. But I've started therapy and I'm learning that grief for a fantasy is still grief. That betrayal by blood cuts deepest because you never see it coming from people who are supposed to love you unconditionally. I've changed my number. Moved twice. Some days I'm angry. Some days I cry until I can't breathe. But every day I'm a little stronger. A little more certain that I did the right thing. They taught me that I didn't appreciate them. But they were wrong. I appreciated them too much. I loved them too completely. I gave them everything except the one thing they actually wanted, permission to treat me like garbage while I smiled and said thank you. The cruise ship sailed without us. Somewhere in the Caribbean, 3 luxury suites sat empty. And somewhere in this city, a woman who used to be a daughter is learning how to just be herself. It's the saddest, hardest, most necessary thing I've ever done. Sometimes love means letting go. Sometimes the price of your peace is everything you thought you couldn't live without. And sometimes the family you're born into isn't the family you deserve. I'm still learning that's okay.